Hey y'all, it's Jay Rams here, back at it again with another video. Before we get started, I would love if you could please like, comment, and subscribe. That would mean a lot. So this video is something I didn't expect to make. I'm just gonna make it because honestly, I feel like that's what I should do. Growing up, it was hard for me at least. We all have it hard some way somehow, but for me, it was a little extra hard. I don't know. Um, I grew up, you know, Uh, I got adopted at the age of 4, and that was, a struggle for me because I didn't um, know what was really happening, but I knew that, I didn't have a family, and I was going through my own fair share of, just trying to figure out life, and God blessed me and getting adopted, and that was fine, but as time went on, it became present that uh, I wasn't good enough. And feeling like that as a kid, you want to strive to be the best that you can and make people happy. And I guess when you're adopted, it's a little bit more severe because you want to show or prove to somebody that you were worth adopting and that you were worth, you know, the investment, you know. Um, and so I tried everything to be this not perfect person, but let's say perfect. I tried to get the best grades. I tried to, do good in, any activity I did. I tried to, make friends and just stay out of trouble. I tried to do all the things that a child would do, a good child would do, I guess. There's no good or bad child, but for me, I felt like I had to really try my whole life just to make sure I wasn't doing anything bad. But as I got older, I realized that people were taking advantage of me. Um, I didn't know my birth mom. My birth mom was, not present in my life. My dad, I didn't know. I didn't know my siblings. And so it was hard because I was the only child. Even though I got adopted, I didn't get adopted into a family that had children. I was the only one, and God really showed me who I was at a young age. Just having to take over responsibilities and just keep my faith. I learned at a young age that faith was something that you needed to have. Um, it's hard to talk about when you know where it's gonna go. So after I realized, I'm adopted and all these things, I didn't really see the face value until I was around like 15, 16. I'm not gonna lie, but I went through a lot of um, neglect and abuse, and not physically more say, but um, emotionally and mentally, and it kind of messed my brain up. Um, and I think that when you get older, you start to see the things you don't like, but as a kid, you just want to keep being better and keep doing good, and maybe that will change the result. But now knowing what I know that that was never going to change the result, and I have to live with that because in reality, people come and go, but um, it's sad. It's sad to know that the result is never going to change, and you're this, happy-go-lucky kid, and you just want things to get better, but they're just always going to stay worse. Um, but my adopted mom um, did a lot of things and um, projected a lot of fear into me growing up. Um, I'm transgender, or identify as a trans man. And growing up, I knew that as a young age, I knew that, I was not suited to be a girl. And I had a lot of identity issues just in general, but my mom, she adopted me. She wanted me to be, this girly girl and all this stuff, and I just wasn't. Um, I just wasn't. I knew that I just couldn't take on that role. Not saying that that wasn't what God gave me. I was born a female, but I just didn't feel like that. And she used to force me to, wear dresses and all these things. And it kind of messed up my identity in a sense because I was trying to find myself while she was trying to have me be something I felt like I wasn't. Not saying that, you know, people will say whatever they want to say, but I just felt like I wasn't, you know what I mean? And I felt like it was humiliating because my body really wasn't the way I wanted it to be. I didn't really look like a pretty girl. Um, Growing up, I was just kind of a nerd, and she used to, humiliate me in that way. She used to do certain things that were just like, now thinking back at it, it's just like, why? Why were you doing those things? Um, she used to tell me like all the time that I'm gonna go to hell for the things that I believe and all these things. And granted, everybody has, sinned and done their things, but I didn't feel like I did that bad to the point where I would be, you know, put on the stake like that. And basically what I'm trying to say is that even though you went through a lot of things, even though you've been through your fair share of, abuse, or your fair share of neglect, or your fair share of being mistreated, um, you are good enough. I feel like growing up, I just never felt like I was good enough. I never felt like I was worthy. I never felt like I was sustaining what people wanted me to sustain. Now realizing what I realized, I know that it was never about them. They were trying to change me because they were insecure. They were trying to do things because, or say things, or make me feel things because they felt a certain way. And knowing that other people project things on you, and knowing that other people do things to belittle you and make you feel like shit and make you feel all these things, in reality, they're just feeling like shit. They're just feeling all the things that they can't express, and they're putting it on you. And that's basically what happened. I lost a lot of people in my life, not through death, but just through choice. I stopped talking to a lot of people. I pushed a lot of people away. Not because I particularly wanted to, it's just because I felt like um, what they were trying to do, the things that they were trying to get from me, the energy that they were trying to get from me, the things and the way they would say they were going to change but never changed. It was getting old. And I think that you get to a point where you have to choose yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to vibrationally find yourself. And I think I'm at that point now where I understand that everything happens for a reason. I was always different. I always talked different. I always walked different. I always sounded different. I always dressed different. And it was a problem growing up because I was just always trying to fit in. That's what kids want. They just want to fit in. They just want to have the most friends. They just want to have a good time. They just want to. And yeah, I had that from time to time, but I definitely didn't have as much of a childhood as I wanted to say. It was kind of always about that person more than me. I grew up in a situation where I had to take on a lot of responsibilities that kind of just seemed unfair. Um, I don't have siblings or anything like that, or I didn't grow up with my siblings, so it was kind of like the things that were going on. I just felt like were just unfair, and people were like, "Your life is unfair." I'm not getting into detail. I'm not even telling you anything right now. You think you know, but you don't know. And that's the thing about people. It's like they compare and contrast and they do all these things, but it's like I'm not even telling you half of what happened, and I'm not going to because I don't want to pity myself. I don't want to knock myself down further than I already felt. What I'm trying to say is that you go through these life-changing, altering things that build your character or weaken your character, and you choose not to go through that. Obviously, you never deserved any of the things that you went through. You never deserved the pain. You never deserved the neglect. You never deserved the abuse. But you choose to hold on to that shit. You choose to have this inward battle, and you don't even realize that you're fighting with yourself. Like, I didn't know I was fighting with myself until 22. Like, I was fighting with myself because I didn't want to step out of line. I didn't want to stop being this perfect person. I didn't want to stop being this person that was giving and kind and all this stuff. But in reality, sometimes you have to stop because people are just always going to take advantage of that. And it's not because you're not a good person. It's actually you're a good person because you're fighting for yourself now. And fighting for yourself is hard. Empowering yourself is hard. Looking deeper into who you are is hard. And getting rid of the trauma and the pain is hard, right? It's all difficult. But when you tell people how you feel, you don't have to tell people in a nasty way, but you could tell people how you feel. And whether they receive that is what they do. But as long as you got it off your chest, that's all that matters. As long as you know that, like, what happened wasn't your fault, that's all that matters. I mean, if it was your fault, take accountability and know that, like, okay, I messed up, but don't hash yourself, don't over analyze the things, because if you know you're a good person, you're a good person. Not saying that every good person is good, not saying every bad person is bad, but just saying that if you know yourself a little bit, you know that the things that happened you didn't deserve, know that you were more than that, and that the trauma doesn't define you. I think for the longest time, I thought that the trauma defined me. I think for a while, I thought I deserved all the things that I was getting. I think I deserved, obviously, I felt like I deserved better, but I felt like the things that were happening were my fault. And in reality, none of it was my fault. I think it was just the projection of what other people were putting on me, like I'm saying. And it's hard to alleviate that pressure. It's hard to alleviate all those past fears, those past things that people say, especially when it comes from the people that you most love or the people that love you the most. I guess it's hard to say that they never really loved you if they were doing the things that they were doing, and you have to see it like that. And it's sad because you go through this period of becoming an adult, from a kid to an adult, and you realize that as a kid they were just taking advantage of me. As a kid, they really didn't love me. They were just saying it to get what they wanted. And I think as an adult, you just want to run away from that. You just want to run away from all the pain, all the stress, all the worries. And that's when addiction and drugs and I guess vices and all this shit come into play. But it's not even that. It's just like the mental anguish, the mental strain, the mental, you start battling yourself instead of battling the people you need to battle, and telling the people that hurt you that they really fucked up and they really did you wrong, and then moving and doing what you have to do. I'm not saying that works for everybody, but confronting the situation is always better than running from it. And I feel like I didn't know that as a kid. I was not really confident. I wasn't really understanding of who I was. And so I let a lot of things slide. I let a lot of things get to me. I let a lot of things harbor. I let a lot of things fester. And I'm just done with that. I think I'm done with that for multiple reasons, but I think I'm more done with that because I know my self-worth. I'm realizing my self-worth. I'm realizing that I'm way more than that. People could say anything, but I already been through the ringer to know that I'm not a bad person. I think you choose to be bad, you choose to be good. And what you choose is, and the actions you do defines who you are. And I had to realize that on the other spectrum of just realizing, like, if these people were doing these things and if these people were doing that and if this was happening, then that means they really didn't care. That means they didn't really love me. That means that they didn't, you know what I mean? A plus B equals C, C plus D equals, you know what I mean? I know that's a weird way. 1 plus 1 equals 2, you know? So the math has to math some way. And if it's not mathing, it's not your fault. But go inward and really find out the issues, because the pain that you feel and how you treat others and how you do things is all a reflection of all the pain that you've experienced. So just don't let it harbor, I guess. That's what I'm saying, because I had my own fair share of looking at myself and just seeing that I'm not the person I want to be. I don't feel like the person I want to be. I don't feel or look like the person I want to be, but how can I change that? And the only thing to change that is by confronting what hurt you and going deeper within. And I feel like somehow, some way, the pain will subside because the pain doesn't feel like pain anymore. It feels like just a cycle of bad habits. You know, you let people define who you are for so long, and it's like, wait, I'm not even that person. I didn't even really know who I was. So, shit. So, just stick up for yourself a little bit more. Love yourself a little bit more. Fight for yourself a little bit more. Because you are worth it, you know. We are all worth it. That's why we're here. And we're here to learn these lessons, but we're not here to let it change our heart. We're here to actually elevate our hearts and grow. Um, we use our mind so much that we forget about the heart. And when we forget about the heart is when the love dissipates. And when the love dissipates, that's when we treat each other like shit. So just don't let the love dissipate. Always keep love in your heart. Always keep peace in your heart. Always keep prosperity in your heart. I know it's hard, but, you know, don't let it change you. Don't let the trauma change you. And I think that's what I'm trying to say.